Everyone tells you to pull absentee owner or high equity, but no one talks about why those lists barely convert unless you're stacking the right filters. In this video, I'm going to talk about how you can start pulling a higher quality list that will give you the highest probability of getting you in front of a motivated seller. Hi, I'm Alandra, the operations manager here at Deal Pilot, and I'm not just guessing here. At the time of this recording, we have pulled over 950,461 records across multiple different markets using these exact filters. By the end of this video, you'll know what list to avoid, how to stack for pain, equity, and urgency, and how to build a list that your competition isn't even thinking about. If you're in the wholesaling game and you want more deals, more responses, and want to waste less money on your marketing, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. I'm dropping videos like this every week to help you guys level up. Here's the truth. Most calling and SMS campaigns aren't failing because your script is bad or your timing is off. The reason it's failing is because you're targeting the wrong people. You're pulling absentee owners with no equity filter, or you're blasting a whole zip code of people with no distress filters. That's not targeting. You're just gambling. Pulling a bad list will waste your entire marketing budget. So if you're struggling to talk to motivated sellers or find people with actual pain, start at the beginning of the chain, and that's going to be with your data. Now let's talk about what list not to rely on. So this is going to be your absentee owner with no equity, no minimum equity. And this is going to be your vacants with no distress filters whatsoever. These lists are getting hammered daily by newer wholesalers because they're just clicking quick filters and trying to pull data as fast as possible without taking the time to really figure out, who do I want to target? Why do I want to target them? So make sure if you're pulling lists that you're using some sort of filter or distress indicator and stacking your list to make sure you're getting the highest ROI on the data you pull. So what makes a good list? All right, that's going to be three main qualities that we're looking for. First one's going to be paying the sellers in some type of foreclosure, liens, or they're dealing with a code violation. Next, you need urgency. Urgency is they're on some type of timeline. So again, think foreclosure, HOA liens, child support, something that is pushing them to make a decision very soon. And then the last thing is you need equity, especially if you're trying to do cash deals. If there's not enough equity, the seller doesn't have the flexibility to negotiate on price, even if they wanted to. So if your list isn't hitting at least two of these, you're literally just guessing. So here are the lists that actually work in 2025. First one is going to be tired landlord. Filters on this are going to be non-owner occupied, a minimum of 40% equity, and a minimum of 10 years of ownership. And then if that's too broad and you're getting a lot of results, try stacking this, which means just adding on out of state plus out of county. Fire list. Next is a super obvious one. Number 2, you got pre-foreclosures. So you're going to be looking for properties that have notice of default or list pendants. Also, you want to stack this with vacancies or out of state, and you're going to get a really good high motivated list. Next, we got senior owners coming in at number 3. For this filter set, you're going to want to focus on properties that have a last sale date between 1992 and 2005. The owner has owned the property for a minimum of 20 years, plus they have at least a minimum of 70% of equity. All right. And if that is too broad, you can stack this list with liens, or you can stack it with high equity, which is what we typically do. Coming in at number 4, we have zombie properties. So a lot of people don't talk about this, but this is an extremely high ROI list. And the reason why is because you're looking for vacant properties that also have either tax liens or they're in pre-foreclosure. So the homeowners already jumped ship and there's a big D-Day or doomsday coming up with either the county or with the lender. Really great properties to tackle. Normally, this is going to be a very small list, but definitely worth your effort if you can get in touch with these people. And lastly, a bonus list for you guys is liens. We're having a lot of success with this list, and the filter set's pretty simple. We're looking for a minimum amount of ownership of 5 years minimum. We're looking for people that have tax liens, HOA liens, and child support liens, surprisingly, believe it or not. And with that, you can look at that. And if that's too broad for you, again, you can stack this with vacant, or you can stack it with high equity. And that'll get you a pretty narrowed list. That's going to give you a high probability that the seller you're talking to is going to have some sort of motivation. If you want the filters that I just went over that we use in our actual campaigns, I put everything into a clean, downloadable PDF for you guys. So if you go down into the description, you will end up getting a step-by-step guide of how to pull a list from PropStream and PropWire of what filters you should be clicking and should not be clicking to get the best list. So link for that is in the description so you guys can start pulling these better lists. Next, I want to talk about where to pull these lists from. So most people are pulling data, they're blasting it, and they're quitting it, never to touch it again. Not the move. So you want to pull data from a couple of places. I'll name a few. PropStream, Batch Leads, PropWire, which is free. And what you can do is refresh your list every 30 to 45 days. And PropStream, I don't know about the other platforms, but it has a ability to automate a list. And what that simply means is you can see if properties get added to the list that now fit that criteria, or properties that no longer fit those filters for you, that maybe they sold or something happened to change that property as a whole. So that's something that's really helpful. So you're not re-pulling the same data, and you're just getting the new ones and removing ones that are time wasters. The main thing with lists that you want to keep in mind is, how do I pull smarter and not wider? Especially if you're solo, this is going to save you a lot of time and effort of going through 10,000 properties rather than really focusing in on 500. So now you know what makes a motivated list and what list to avoid. All right, so drop down below in the comments what type of list you're going to test this week in your business. Also, if this made you think differently, consider hitting that subscribe button. I'm posting videos like this every single week that is straight to the point and giving you guys things you need that'll help you. And just remember, you are one small tweak away from pulling better lists. Better list means better deals. Don't pull like everyone else. Make sure you're pulling smarter. All right, guys, I will catch you next week.